So, when churches say that they will help you, when they give their word that they will help you, hold them, hold them to it. So I had this church, in between my jobs say they would help, right? So this was like last month. It was like actually maybe a month and a half ago with last month's rent. So I'm like, yeah, I could use some help. I'm like, do you help? Yes, we do. Okay, thank you, great. Filled out an application. They're like, I'm like, hey, I call back, is there any word on it? Well, we have to have a committee meeting on it, right? Okay. They didn't do car repairs or anything else. So I use all the resources I can. So I'm like, called back again couple days later. Oh yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard from them. Okay, do you think you can contact them for me and get some kind of answer? Yeah, I'll do that. I mean, this went on for days, right? Can you actually send them an email? Can you? Yeah, I'll do that. So, that month went by, right? So no, I didn't hear a thing. So I let that go, and someone else had actually helped us. So I was like, okay, cool. So, so then I'm like, okay, and it was principal, right? I'm like, let me try this church again and see what's going on. Oh yeah, we couldn't help you last time because I forgot to give you the right application. Oh, okay. So how about this month? Yeah, come on in, right? 2 pages. I read it. I mean, the strictest church I've ever seen with asking for help. So I filled it out, and then same thing, phone call. They're gone for the whole week. Another phone call. Well, yeah, I'll get back to you. Okay. And so I hadn't heard anything, so I got back to them again. On and on it went again, right? So I just got this phone call. This was from, I had to call yesterday, and they're like, yeah, we can't help you. And I'm like, well, we've been waiting. We've been waiting and waiting. Not that I totally waited on them, right? So, yeah, we're sorry about that. We can't help at this time, and it's not unless you're a member. So I'm like, it didn't say on the application you had to be a member, basically. Same thing happened with another church. We only help if you're a member, and only if you're serving. And I'm like, well, I certainly am serving. I am in the pro-life movement, and I use a lot of my time to serve. Well, you have to serve here, not your whole community, not the whole world. It has to be here, basically. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'm going to cut this phone call short because I have other people to call. Not, you can't help me. Don't waste my time. So, I mean, I'm really someone who's out there looking for resources for women, and, I use my situation to also look for resources. So, I'm like, I'm going to cut you short because, I'm out here looking for resources for single moms. Yeah, you have to be a part of our church. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard, you have got to be a member of our church. Now, I am a member of the church. I'm a Christian, right? I'm totally inside, right? But you have to be a part of their church. So what's going on right now is a lot of people are pulling in. She's like, you're not the only one, who could use help. And I'm like, no, don't worry about it. I'm starting a nonprofit, and it's for the people who are outside the church. So I don't know why we don't think as a church that we cannot use finances for outreach. I have no idea why people would be like, oh, we only help our people. It's like, you know what? It's like, okay, you can't get creative. You can't think out of the box. You can't say, you know what? Thank you so much for calling us. We love people. We're so glad that you called. Why don't you come in and let's have a conversation? Churches can give something. They can give a grocery card. They can give a gas card. They can give their time, right? They can I see a message. They can give a word of encouragement. They can, there's a million ways you can do this. So I'm like, yeah, I'm cutting you short. Take care. So that was that. And then this other church, after already knowing they couldn't help, I got another phone call from somebody else from the church because they're not working together. And they're like, yeah, sorry, we can't help you right now. And I'm like, I was already told this, so they're not working together. And I said, so just so you know, we've been waiting for 2 months for you to do something. Well, did you read the cover letter? What cover letter? This is the application that was wrong, right? Well, didn't you read the cover letter? What did the cover letter say? I said, it says that unless we contact you, we can't help you. And I'm like, thinking you're contacting me right now. So I'm like, actually, I've been in contact with, your secretary quite often. Well, then she should have told you that we couldn't help you. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's a no-win situation. I go, look, bottom line is people were waiting, people wait and you wasted my time. And he's like, well, you should have had other options. And I go, well, I do have other options. And I go, I'm just going to tell you bottom line, you need to do a better job. You need to get your act together and do a much better job when you say that you're basically helping people. And, you get their hopes up, you waste their time. Ma'am, we apologize. I get that. I heard you. I understand you can't help. But you really need to think of other people. I said there's other people out here. There's single moms who need help. And you need to think of other people more. So he didn't like it. And I've never been so bold with somebody. But seriously, when you're telling somebody you can help with them, and then you turn around and say you can't, it's just not right. So that's what I got in the arena of helping people right now. And there are so many people who need help right now. So many. I called this was for other people too, but I called it transitional housing. And they're like, oh, the housing need is so big. We have people since 2020 who need housing. They're still on the list right now. And I'm like, holy cow, since 2020? 2020. It's like, oh my goodness. So, it is still, it's crazy. It's crazy. And then I had my situation where the landlord's like, oh, we want the money on the 30th. And I'm like, I have until the 31st. And they just want their money on the 30th because they're shutting the books. So I called a guy, friend of mine, and he's like, oh yeah, they have to open their books. Tell them to go over there and open their books on the 31st. Because he's like, if you are trying to give your landlord money, which I'll have on the 31st, and they don't want to take it, he's like, that's going to hold up in court. He goes, so record it. Go over there and tell them and record it, saying, I'm recording this now, and you have to take my money. And if they don't want to take it, it falls on them. So, so there should be, there should be enough stuff on the books, enough laws to help people so that they're not homeless. I mean, we, again, are having so much homelessness and so many people who need help. And sometimes, very rare times, but sometimes no matter what you do, jobs can fall through, people break their word, things can happen. And there should be a big enough network. And what's happening right now is that network that I had when I first got here, everybody's pulling it in. I mean, they're like, I can call an organization and they'll be like, oh, we only have a couple resources, where I know more resources than the main resource place here, right? So things do happen to people. It does happen. Some people really do everything they can, and they still struggle. So that's what I got for now, guys.